twin hormones are oxytocin, prolactin, FSH, LH, prolactin and growth hormone, serotonin and melatonin. Okay. Now, when do you call something as twin? When they have a lot of resemblance, right? Okay. So now among the pairs of hormones that you're seeing, right, which hormones have lot of resemblance? Oxytocin and prolactin, do they have resemblance? No, right? Oxytocin and vasopressin have a lot of resemblance in their amino acid sequence, right? In fact, you might have heard a term called as gestational diabetes insipidus. The gestational diabetes insipidus is because in the pregnant women, there's an increased production of a hormone called as oxytocinase, which is supposed to destroy oxytocin so that it prevents the oxytocin causing premature delivery. But because this oxytocin has structural resemblance to vasopressin, it can destroy vasopressin. So oxytocin has vasopressinase activity, and thus you destroy vasopressin and you end up getting diabetes insipidus, and this is happening in a pregnant woman, so we call it as gestational diabetes insipidus. But oxytocin and prolactin are not structurally related, they are not twin hormones, right? Okay. I can say same for the FSH and LH, but when it comes to prolactin and growth hormone, there are a lot of similarities. Can you count the similarities between prolactin and growth hormone? Number one, right? The cells that secrete prolactin, and they're called as lactotrope cells, and the cells that secrete growth hormone are called as somatotrope cells, right? Now both of these cells are present in the anterior pituitary, lactotrope cells and somatotropes. Somatotrope cells, both of these are present in the anterior pituitary. Somatotrope secretes growth hormone and lactotrope cells secrete prolactin. Now these are part of anterior pituitary, and in terms of their staining properties, these are acidophil cells. These are acidophil cells. Okay, so that is the first similarity that I can count, right? Both prolactin and growth hormone secreting cells are acidophil cells. But the more important similarity is that the stem cell from which the lactotropes and somatotropes are derived is the essentially same stem cell. So basically it is one stem cell which later on gets committed to either becoming the lactotrope or somatotrope cells. So the stem cells from which these are originating, we call them as acidophil stem cell. Acidophil stem cell. The acidophil stem cell either becomes a lactotrope cell or a somatotrope cell. That is the similarity number 2. The similarity number 3 is prolactin as well as growth hormone are peptide hormone with lot of resemblance in their amino acid sequence as well as their 2 and 3 dimensional structures, right? So these are peptide hormones with a lot of resemblance in their sequence. Okay, so that is a third similarity. Now the fourth point to note here is that very high levels of prolactin can stimulate growth hormone receptors and can cause acromegaly like presentation, and at the same time you call it as fugitive acromegaly, where you have acromegaly like features but you don't have excess growth hormone because the problem is excess prolactin, which is a kind of twin, so will have similar action on the growth hormone receptors. Similarly, excess growth hormone can also lead to galactorrhea acting through prolactin receptors because their receptors are also similar, right? Okay, so because of these all similarities, we call prolactin and growth hormone as twin hormones. If you watched my video lesson on endocrine, basic endocrinology and your anterior pituitary hormones, you might have heard repeatedly me saying that I call them as cousins, right? Now here the examiner is calling them as twins, but you can also call them as cousins, right? So that's it on this question, guys. Thank you for listening.